Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing.
My goodness, the backstage today. What's going on, everyone? This is the download. We're coming to you live, and we are joined by an awesome panel of experts, industry professionals, gamers, enthusiasts, and everybody alike. We are going to get into a bunch of topics today, but the big one is going to be a breakdown on Unreal Engine 5 and how it has become a massive disappointment for the gaming industry. We also, if we got time, we're going to touch on XDefiant shutting down, as well as Indiana Jones and what's going on with all these full PC specs. Ray tracing can take a back seat, I think, is going to be our recommendation. But before all that, let's get into all of these amazing people underneath me right here, and I'm going to give them all time to give themselves a shout out, let them know why you're here and who you are. So we're going to start with Wilson and make our way down. Try not to take too long because we got some people to go through, so go for it, Wilson.
You all basically know me at this point, but I'm Wilson, and I have just got nothing better to do than talk games and tech, so that's why I'm here. I got nothing better to do.
Awesome, man. And why don't we go on to... Are we calling you Anthony now?
Well, you guys can still call me whatever. Formerly known as the Cowboy King of Entertainment, and now your mama knows. I did a big move from New Jersey to Florida, and I just wanted to totally rebrand, so it's pretty much just me, man. Anthony L. Lewis. Pretty much the channel is kind of a vlogging channel. I don't really stream as much, but we'll be seeing how things are going. But I'm just here to chill with my guy, Rue Diggs, and the fellas. Miss you guys, and I'm getting a little bit stable as I'm waiting to move into my house next week. So I had some time to jump on, and so I'm ready to do it.
Oh, well, we appreciate you, good sir. And Jem.
What's up, Rue?
Give us a little synopsis, who you are and why you're here.
I'm a bear. I like to play games. I make games. And yeah.
There we go. Thank you. And Maker.
Hey, Maker. I work in IT. I have a networking degree. I just game and have fun. That's about it.
Oh, SPG.
I'm very old and I built an expensive PC.
Weaver.
Love that.
I'm just a trash gamer and lover of music.
Soul.
Hey, I'm Sean, Callie's brother, so here to step in for him and talk some games.
Ray.
Yo, Ray3473, the gaming cyborg. Let's see, retired gemologist, property manager. Me and my wife, we got some rental properties out here, and take care of my son now. And thank you guys for being in Cyborg City, and thank you, Ray.
And Vet.
Yes, always saving the best for last. That's how I like it. I'm Vet. I don't really need to give an introduction. Everybody knows who I am. I'm just here for comic relief. I don't really bring much to the table. I just sit in this Discord because I'm retired Army, allegedly from some people I've heard. But yeah, that's about it. Enough said.
All right. Well, that is our huge panel of people. Awesome. You can get into the Discord and follow them all. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast. Many of you listen to it afterwards, but we need those subscribes to get that channel up there. So some selfless promotion. But let's get into it. Our very first topic is going to be Unreal Engine. So this has been a big hot topic button today in the gaming world. Unreal Engine has been a disappointment. Despite the hype, Unreal Engine 5 has not been the game changer many have expected. The adoption of the engine has been slower than anticipated, with many developers even sticking to Unreal Engine 4. The promised advancements such as Nanite and Lumen have not been fully realized in games as of yet. Not to mention, these games are being built for consoles that are not currently on the market. I mean, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox are struggling, let alone the Nintendo Switch, to run some of these titles. But I want to give it up to the panel so we can start getting through all of these voices and ideas. Do you think Unreal Engine has failed the gaming market today, or do you think it's something else? What has failed here? Because obviously, games aren't running how they used to. So we're going to start with David, make our way down as best as we can. I think this is going to be a great conversation. So feel free to jump in as soon as somebody finishes their idea. But I just want to start with David because he may be leaving us soon. So give you
I
a
need
shout
to
out to
retire
start it.
and get some sleep. I do. But before I do, Unreal, yeah, we're seeing it struggle, right? We're not seeing it as much as we hoped. I mean, I don't know if that's because people are choosing 4, if they were already building their games on 4 and they don't want to just pivot, right? But yeah, we're seeing a bunch of issues. And I think it's deeper than Unreal 5. I think there's a lot of issues with Unreal 5, and I think a lot of people on the panel are going to talk about those, so I'll leave that for them. But I think it's a lot deeper than that too. I mean, we've also all talked about the fact that Unreal has got its pre-built optimization. A lot of developers aren't optimizing games anymore. It's a lazy fact that Jem has informed us about ad nauseum, that it frustrates him with work seeing these developers now become senior developers and not teaching people to make a game run properly. So Series X, PlayStation 5, even the PlayStation 5 Pro, we're going to see these Unreal 5 engine games come out, and as we've just seen very, very vividly with Stalker 2 on the Series X, they're going to not just flop, they're going to they're going to be unplayable. They're going to be unplayable for a lot of people. And that's a big issue. Now the industry itself has got many issues, but yeah, Unreal is highlighting a lot of them.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that opinion. And yeah, we're going to try to keep opinions to 2 minutes or so. So that was absolutely perfect, Wilson. I do appreciate that input and so much to agree on there. Anthony, how are you feeling about Unreal Engine 5? I know you're a big Fortnite player, and to me, that seems to be the only experience that succeeded out of this Unreal Engine 5 experiment.
So I wonder if it is an issue, and this is what I mean. I've been and I'm just gonna have to go off the cuff. You know, me. I've been primarily a console guy, right? And I feel like it's always been a PC thing to kind of have a lot of little tinkering and fixing this and making this and that better. And I think now more than ever, the PC and console world is like merging, right? You get people like whenever I get a new game, I go to settings just to see how many frames it have. I never did that before, right? So what I'm wondering is how big of an issue is it, right? So when we throw terms like, oh, it's unplayable, this thing is broken, but it's like, what does that mean? Does it mean you don't get 60 frames and you get 58? Like, does it mean like the game stutters every 4 hours when you play? Does it mean the game crashed 2 times in the last week, so it's terrible? And I almost think the spotlight is more negativity nowadays. Because as a gamer, I just play a bunch of games, right? You guys know I rent games, so I play a lot of games, and I can't really say, maybe I need to play some of these games that's like really doing bad because of is Unreal 4. But yeah, I do play Fortnite. Was just playing it for a while last night. I don't have any issues. So like you said, maybe Fortnite is the exception. But I almost just feel like maybe it's not that big of a deal, but because we kind of make it that big of a deal. Like if anybody have any specific like, no, I got this game and it is unplayable, I would like to hear it. But I also feel like if you say that, it's probably going to be a PC issue because it's more like you was cranking it up way further than you could handle it, and so that's the kind of issue you had. But this is just me being ignorant to the issue that we're speaking on because I personally in my gaming world I haven't really seen any type of this game is unplayable because of Unreal Engine 5. But that's my thing. And now
Well,
your mom
appreciate that. And now your mama knows. Cowboy, thank you for coming onto the show. Be sure to
yes
check out
sir.
his channel now. Huge content creator, been doing it for years. So thanks for coming on the show today.
You can are we going like in line or people
I
just
was gonna
say
I was gonna
what are
jump
you
to
doing?
Jem. I saw him undo his mute, but feel free to jump in
Okay.
as soon as she finishes
No,
his
go
thought
ahead,
there.
Ray. I'll go after you.
Okay. You know what? I am not, just so you guys know, I'm not a beta tester. I'm not an expert. But what I do know is that sometimes when you take something new and you try and stick it with something that's outdated or it's not compatible, uh, there's uncompatible plugins, there's corrupted files. It's not going to work. You're not going to get it to work. And that's why there's all these issues and stuff like that. And I think they're trying, when you're trying to take something new and put something old, it's not going to work. It's not compatible. There you go.
Thanks for that. Yeah, they're definitely trying to shove all this brand new technology into old consoles. And I think that's where we're hitting an issue with games like Stalker 2, which aren't just meeting the moment of when it's releasing on market and performing how it's supposed to perform. Jem, why don't you jump into a little bit into what's going on here with Unreal Engine 5?
So with Unreal Engine 5, personally, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's a brilliant, fantastic engine, and it's free. And if you are a AAA company, you got low costs. So it's win-win-win for everyone. I understand that there are a lot of games that were built on Unreal Engine 5 that perform poorly, and naturally you could blame the engine, but I think the issue is with the developers because the developers have gone to the point where they don't even optimize their game. So of course it's going to be a buggy mess. Of course you're going to need high-end cards because they don't optimize it and they rely on the automated process with nanites and lumen from Unreal Engine to fix that. But it's just their optimization is just simply for those features specifically. It doesn't optimize the whole game. It just optimizes nanite and lumen. It doesn't optimize the rest of the game, which you still have to do manually. Um, and one of the problems is um, as we go forward in the industry, we hire more people and seniors leave, so you get more juniors and seniors are leaving, just retiring or whatever. And because of like management and like time and resources, they want to put optimization to minimum, and what you end up having is you have juniors who have literally never learned how to do manual optimization, which we've been doing since consoles came out. Like, you had I can't remember his name, the guy from Nintendo who was like, "Hey, we're making Pokemon, and it doesn't fit on a Game Boy. It's like 5 times the size." But the head of Nintendo or Game Freak, he's like, give me like a few weeks," and he cracked it. He made it more efficient. He optimized the hell out of Pokemon, and he made it fit in a Game Boy, which the whole team said it was impossible to do. But he did it. He did it manually, and the same thing has been applied for generations now, for decades, with every game that we've been playing for the last 20, 30 years. But the last, I would say, 5 years or even a little bit longer, we've just been ignoring manual optimization. And those juniors who are not learning optimization will eventually give it 10 more years. They're going to be seniors and they literally won't even know how to optimize. And we're going to be in a gaming industry where no one even understands what optimization is. And we're just going to keep buying high end cards and new consoles when it's not even needed. I mean, look at Red Dead 2. Look at it. Look at Red Dead 2. It runs on a Steam Deck. It runs on a mobile spec. And Red Dead 2 came out in 2018 and it looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's massive. It's fluent. It's so smooth. It's polished. And most importantly, it's optimized to hell. Um, yeah, there's nothing more to say. I think Unreal Engine 5 is perfect. It's great. The issue is strictly to the developers. Leave the game engine alone.
Well said, Jem. Thank you for that input and definitely a different perspective on what's happening here. Maker, did you want to throw any input into what's going on with Unreal Engine 5 here? Is it
Yeah,
a case or yeah, jump into it. Go for it.
yeah. I think I mean I think it's hit or miss. But I also think that's partially due to it being the newest version of the engine. Some people would use the older ones either because they're more familiar with it, or I had helped a friend of mine on a project as well, but that was on Unreal Engine 4. That was mostly because they had started at a particular version of Unreal Engine 4 when they first started the project. So that could be a case as well, especially with games taking 5 to 7 years nowadays. Um, but like I wanted to take a look at like some of the games that do use Unreal Engine 5, and yeah, I was surprised to see some of these titles with Unreal Engine 5. Like the Lego Horizon game was apparently Unreal Engine 5. Um, Concord, despite not not doing well, it was still a fairly polished like gameplay experience, and that was Unreal Engine 5. Um, Tekken 8 is critically acclaimed. The new Dragon Ball game and stuff of that nature. So,
Hey, I see Kingmaker's on the list. That's on an Unreal Engine 5. I don't see Lego Horizons on this list. Maybe you have a different list than I.
I would also
Lego Horizon
challenge
Adventure was
Concord
developed
being
with Unreal
polished.
Engine 5 and uses visual enhancements like ray trace lighting on PlayStation 5 and Windows versions. That's on from the Wikipedia page for Lego Horizon Adventures.
Oh, interesting. So they did put an Unreal Engine 5 game, other than Fortnite, onto the Switch.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I feel like the problem is we see so much the games that don't run well on Unreal Engine 5 that we it's kind of like it's kind of we have blinders on. We only see the negative of that particular thing, and I think that's also a problem that we have.
That's definitely true. We have our bias. That's what this panel is built on. So SPG, why don't you throw some PC bias our way on Unreal Engine 5?
Well, let's just keep it real, man. The PS5 came out in 2020, at the end of 2020. Okay, and when it came out, because consoles is how they work, they have a couple-year-old tech that's in them to begin with. All right, Unreal Engine 5 launched in 2022, like for it to be readily available. Like this engine is supposed to live for a decade and run on tech that we don't even have right now. So to expect it to run really good on consoles is silly, but in the same instance, it is up to the developers to do the actual work. And with AI upscaling and plugins now, and how easy it is to jam stuff in, like it's not being optimized. They're not doing it. You had a discussion a few weeks back about 0 FPS in Stalker 2. Well, they're heavily relying on DLSS to run that game because it's highly unoptimized. Now, maybe it's because it's a small team, or who knows. But moving forward, I think that consoles are going to be quickly left behind. Not necessarily because the engine is just so damn powerful it can't do it. It's that they're not putting the effort into making them run smoothly. And I just see it as an industry problem, and we're going to continue to see it moving forward. Now, Unreal Engine 5 is remarkable. It gives you like a movie studio at your disposal. You can do so much with it, but you have to put that extra work in to make everything run smooth, especially after stacking a whole bunch of stuff into it. And I just don't see the lowest bar hardware, which would be the Xbox and the PS5, keeping up. People think we're not going to see the PS6 till 2028 or more. I think that's bullshit. I think that's complete BS. I think 2026, by the end of 2026, we're going to have concrete information on the next consoles. Just my opinion.
Well, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. I will say, I think the PS5 Pro with its PSSR is trying to account for this. We're actually watching in the background here an Unreal Engine 5 demo of The Matrix being played through on a PS5 Pro, and it is holding up extremely well. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is they need to put in this AI frame generation to be able to make up for the optimization that's not being put into these titles. But I want to jump to Arrivo the Beaver. What games have you been playing recently on Unreal Engine 5? I know you don't jump into Fortnite, but is there any other games that you've been playing that are Unreal Engine 5?
What are you talking about? I have played Fortnite before.
You're
Yeah.
big into you're big. I know you had that anti
Yeah.
Fortnite thing.
Yeah, but I got over it eventually.
There you go. And how do you feel about it?
I I mean, I can't wait to see what else Unreal Engine 5 has in store for us. Like I guess the most realistic engine there is to date. Uh, but but well, like but if you want to be able to play a game, it's got to be fully playable. You can't have like any bugs whatsoever. You can't have like half-assed. Um,
And
and
what
I'm
breaks
still
a
waiting.
game for you?
What
Stuttering
breaks the game?
frames or can
Um,
you play through that? Can you play on 30 FPS fine or is it broken frames that get you or game glitches? What's your limit of turning off a game and waiting till it's updated?
game glitches. That's what it is. Especially like game breaking ones. So like where like during like if you're in quests and like there's like something blocking you that's not supposed to be there, then why play it? Why still play it when it's unplayable?
Yeah, and I 100% agree. Let's move it to Mr. Soul. How have you been doing, and what are your thinking on Unreal Engine 5? Do you think
Um,
consoles need an upgrade? Do you think developers need to slow down? Why aren't they meeting in the market at the same time?
I think I agree with SPG that like the PS6 is definitely gonna come sooner. Like, this is definitely just the start of like the new technology. And I think it's cool. I know like it's not ready right now, but that just leaves a lot of room for growth in the Unreal Engine stuff. So I feel like yeah, right now it's not going to be ideal, but over time it's going to grow and it's going to become something that we all are probably going to use, you know. Like there's going to be some good games coming from it. But right now, yeah, I mean, I played Fortnite and I think it's very smooth on there, so I don't have any problems on there, but I've yet to play like other games with it, but just hearing about the FPS drop and you know, Stalker 2 is just one example of like us not being ready for that kind of technology yet. We're still working there to get there.
Well said. Thank you, Mr. Soul. And Ray talked about compatibility, so thank you for that. And Vet, Unreal Engine 5. Is it too soon for the market?
The tech's not there yet. I mean, it is, but it isn't. I don't. It's hard to really say it's too soon. It's just it works on some devices. It may not work on a lot others. Is it the right thing to go for consoles? I don't think so. PC, yeah, PCs can handle that kind of tech, the Unreal Engine 5, but I don't think it's right for a console right at this moment. We can,
Yeah.
I mean, you can clearly tell that with certain games that run okay on PC, but when you try to run the same thing with the same engine on a console, can't handle it. And I think a lot of it is because that engine is used to design these games on a PC. So
And they update Unreal Engine 5 a lot, and they add a lot of things. Eventually, they're going to have movie studio quality assets within the game, meaning the closer you get to them, the better they look. There's no fake work.
They already have that.
Here's
Like,
my thing. Here's my thing. Look, and I'm going to use Fortnite as an example because that obviously, you know, that's we know how that is. But what happens when we know, for those that follow Fortnite and all of, you know, the stuff that whole thing is building around, Disney has dropped billions of dollars to create an entire Disneyverse within Fortnite. What happens if that whole thing doesn't run on very well or has issues on a console but runs perfectly fine on a PC? Because the console it's being run on can't handle it. It just can't keep up with that. When that's the problem, is you just don't have that kind of the luxuries that a PC does. That's where the consoles lack. With when you're using
I think
an engine.
Yeah, go for
No,
it,
I
Anthony.
was gonna say, I think the thing with when you got to think about with consoles, right, is it doesn't. If you come from a PC side, you kind of feel like everything has to match it, or it's less. Let me go back inside.
No.
Sorry, I was outside and it's 70-something degrees out there, but it's a little loud.
No.
Let me. All right, but hold up real quick.
About that.
So
We like
the
this
thing is,
negative degree weather.
yeah, the thing is, oh, sorry about that. The thing is, so in the way you're explaining, like, what happens if this doesn't work? But I think the thing is, it's going to be a more of a console version, right? Like, yes, if it was on PC, it would do way bigger, better. But again, we talked about optimizing, right? And that's why Fortnite works, right? Because they're going to know, and you use Disney, right? I don't think Disney's going to make their world in Fortnite the PC version on a console because it wouldn't work. So the thing is, you're just gonna have, again, if it's a well-established company or they're paying big bucks, they're gonna make sure you get a good console version. So, but I think if you look at it through the lens of a PC, it's gonna fail because it can't do what it does on PC, of course, but it's not gonna look like it will look on PC. And if you think about it, majority of console players, that's why I start off in the beginning, we're merging more PC stuff in the consoles, but it's really just the people who watch YouTube, who go on social media. A lot of my friends, when I bring up the stuff I used to do on my podcast, they look at me like, what are you talking about? They just play video games, right? They're not even realizing like there's this other world that we talk about day in and day out. So the majority of console players are those people, right? And especially you talk about little kids that don't know this. So I don't think it, when you look at it like, oh, will it fit? What's going to happen? I think the smart company just make the console version and not the PC version. So I don't think it's that big of a deal as you're making it out to be. And now your mom knows.
And now your mama knows. Well, I will say thank you. And after listening to you all, And I'll leave it up to a bit of an open debate after my statement here, but I think what we have here is software is pushing way ahead of hardware. And honestly, they should just keep all that stuff behind the curtain because it's not useful if you're trying to hit today's marketplace. Because the market and where people are gaming at and their allowance and their financial capabilities, they just can't reach that level of high powered PC, high powered monitor to be able to do all of these massive, incredible things with the game. I think it should be an add on for PC people if they want it. Texture upgrades, give that to them. But if you're building a game, just strip it down, make it basic, make it playable, and make it unbreakable. Like Reaver was saying, a breakable game is a turnoff. You're not going to continue to play that. So I think that's where we need to start is creating games that work first and then add all that stuff in extrawards. But I think it's a great discussion. Unreal Engine 5, I think, is definitely a great stepping stone for all these companies to really get into and launch. Like Jem was saying, they don't need to develop their own engine. They can take their idea and sort of grow off of it in this sandbox of a situation. So I think it's a great tool to get ideas off of the ground. But at the end of the day, when companies, I think, build their own engines, craft their own worlds, have that investment, some of these results are absolutely stunning and blow you away. Unreal Engine 5 has not really shocked and
Unreal Engine
blown
5.
me away with some of the other games that I've been seeing. What's up, that PlayStation gamer? We're talking Unreal Engine 5. You want to get your perspective in here?
Yeah, I think Unreal Engine 5 has just been an unoptimized disaster because it's very early in the engine's life cycle. Like once it starts getting optimized and we get better, more, I guess you would say, fit to handle something like Unreal Engine 5, maybe we would get, better performance, better, blah, 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 X problem going on.
I think you hit on a really interesting
But
point.
yeah, it's just
PlayStation. You bring up the life cycle being early, and I think that's something that we haven't much touched on yet. I think we've been around the edges of it, but this is new tech in a way, right? Unreal Engine 5 is very new. It's almost like it's new tools. It's a new technology. It's a new tool set for people to work with. Well, whenever something new is invented, there's a lot of fumbling, right? It's cutting edge technology. Well, some things fall off that cutting edge. Some things don't always go as planned. There's a lot of growing pains with new tools, and not just with Unreal Engine 5, but there's a lot of other new tools that we're seeing in the same area in the gaming industry, from PSSR to DLSS. All of these AI tools that we're seeing, ray tracing, all these different things coming into play at the same time, and they're all the baby versions of them, right?
Yes.
They've all got 1,000 errors. They all need to try and work together. Some of them are built to optimize. Some of them tear down systems like ray tracing, and it's kind of half of it is developers getting lazy, publishers not putting enough money to fund the developers doing all of the optimization, but half of it I think is also this technology is really young and they're kind of depending on it too soon. They're kind of trying to run before they can walk with it.
Well, and David's
Exactly.
absolutely right. When you look at the PSSR, that is a DLSS system. It's not there with frame gen and all that yet, but it's an infancy. So when people buy into the PS5 Pro and expect the PSSR to do revolutionary things, it may. But then again, in some games, it's going to fall behind. Like when DLSS first came out, it wasn't great. It took a while for it to develop. But as I mentioned earlier, the workaround of not doing the polish and not doing the grind to make it run well is PSSR, DLSS. It's a workaround for them, and they're going to keep exploiting it. They expect that to fix a lot of things. And moving forward, it might fix a lot of things. But it's a crutch as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like when you have a brand new baby. It's like, why can't you do Mafiat? Come on, kid. Learn to do it already.
No, yeah. But DLSS, I mean, what version is that on now? 3.5 or whatever? And that one is actually starting to get really effective. People used to complain about it a lot, but now a lot of people say switch DLSS on. A lot
As
of
an example,
developers will say we expect you to play this game with DLSS now. That's
Frame
almost an
gen
expectation now.
frame gen sucked when it first came out. It worked well with some stuff, and other stuff it didn't make sense, and it made the game worse. And now they've ironed out most of those kinks to where frame gen doesn't do that, doesn't add a whole bunch of latency and all that stuff. But it has
But
to
Unreal
develop a little
5,
bit.
Well,
Unreal 5 is a whole tool set. It's not just one tool, right? It's a
No,
whole
correct.
tool set.
Correct.
And everyone is trying to fumble around with this new
Well-
version of this new tool set.
with a new version comes new features and new things for them to add or mess around with, and that's part of the problem. And games are always going to keep adding more and more and more, and that is taxing. And it's getting to the point where GPUs can't really keep up at the current rate, and that's why you have stuff like DLSS, like when they talk about the path tracing,
Christ, you
ray
see
tracing.
like the requirements for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? Like Jesus Christ!
Insane.
I'm sorry, that game does not
I
look
think
that
Rue
damn
plans
good.
on
I
getting
don't
to that,
think
don't
that's
you,
that
Rue?
bad.
I think we plan
Yeah.
on talking about
Right.
Indiana Jones at some point and how scary it
If
might be.
we
for
get
some
to
people.
it, I mean, the PC requirements seem insane. But this is what I'm saying. They're cranking it up for these people who have these AI generated graphics cards, but really, where are the majority of gamers who are playing these games?
What about the
Yeah.
so here,
On
here's
the
the thing.
2060, which is the minimum
No,
spec.
hold on. Here's the thing. Since Rue brought up these AI graphics cards, there's some new ones that are getting dropped. Some Intel just released or is getting ready to release this month and next month two new mid-range graphics
Battle
cards with
Mage.
yes, that are 219 and 249 for the two versions that support AI. They're AI capable for content creation, gaming, and a bunch of other stuff. But they're on par with these new games that are coming out. So it's not like you're. I understand the whole thing with the GPUs, like these overpriced ones, but that's if you're focusing on AMD or you're focusing on NVIDIA cards. That's where Intel will shine here. If these can support, say, a game like that, like Indiana Jones, if the Intel's new Battle Mage cards can run that game and run it well, it's good for the gaming industry because then you've got the competition and you're not going to be stuck like, oh damn, I got to.
Well, when you add ray tracing into the bit, you're basically forcing everyone into NVIDIA anyway. NVIDIA's got a stranglehold on ray tracing, and now they've added path tracing in, which is exactly what Rudigs was going to allude to coming up for the Indiana Jones specs. When you add those lighting functions into the game, it can cripple the performance. It can.
But those two new Intel graphics cards support ray tracing.
Right, but not like NVIDIA.
They're not supposed to be as powerful.
But let's be real. How many people out here? How many gamers? I'm not talking a certain niche, but the average play that needs a new graphics card to play it is going to be out there $3,000 on an NVIDIA card. They're not going to be able to afford that. The average gamer would be willing to.
That's true, but you have to say what Battle Mage is competing with. A Battle Mage isn't directly competing against NVIDIA. They're not.
Yeah, it's not. You're not competing with, these high-end things that no one needs. That's overkill. But you're also catering to the average gamer that might want to play that and needs an upgrade. I can afford a $200 graphics card. I can't afford a $3,000 one from NVIDIA. But if that $200 one can do the same thing and allow me to play a game that I'd like to play on my PC, I say go for it. And that's what you need. You need people doing that to be able to continue. Then I'm okay with people making these kind of games that have ridiculous specifications that you need.
The one problem with the Intel GPUs is they're not as widely supported as NVIDIA or AMD. They have their feature, I believe it's XESS, which is their AI upscaling, isn't as widely supported as a FSR or DLSS, and that's the biggest drawback to those graphics cards.
But to counter that, the more you make these cards accessible, eventually it's going to catch on. It's not like all of a sudden, like as soon as NVIDIA was the first to do this, how many other companies over the years have in the gaming world have there been the 3D effects Voodoo graphics cards? That was the standard at one point in time. NVIDIA has taken that over. AMD has been catching up. Intel will get there. I think if they can market these kind of cards to the average gamer, it will force companies to include that feature as well, because there are not going to be that many people willing to be like, hey, like, somebody kid wants to ask their parents to buy them a $3,000 graphics card. I'm sorry. That ain't gonna happen. I would love to see how many parents are.
Hey, I have a question for
Hey,
Jem then. Jem is a game developer. Jem, if you can unmute for a second, what is the allure to path tracing and ray tracing then when it does cripple performance and takes so much? When a whole lot of these cards can't handle it anyway, what is the use of pushing in that direction?
This is like all of that ray tracing stuff is like it's separated on the graphics card. It doesn't actually take it from the raw performance power. You got your ray tracing cores, like CUDA cores and stuff on the graphics card, um, which is what handles ray tracing. So if you turn it off and on or off, it doesn't matter. Your raw performance is still the same. But when you turn on the ray tracing, it's gonna turn on the ray tracing cores on the literally a hardware level thing. And AMD has this. The new Intel cards have this as well. It's just a separate thing. It's like it's just on its own league. It's a feature. You could turn it on or off. It has this other features like DLSS, AI stuff. That's all using ray tracing cores on the graphics card.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I still think Unreal Engine 5 has some hardware to catch up. Joe is saying that 500 million people game on their PC. I've not even heard these numbers. And the average GPU for hardware is 3060.
Yeah, Jem just went over all these numbers.
The
Jem.
world has upgraded.
Yeah, on Steam, what they do is they survey everyone's hardware every single month, and they just give you stats on their homepage, and you can see what is like the most popular OS, what's the most popular RAM, your monitor, GPU, and stuff, and it's super useful for developers as well, so you can have an understanding of where the trend is going, and again, optimize your game that doesn't exist. To cater to what is the most common factor. As Joe in chat said, the 3060 is the most used graphics card on Steam right now, at 5%. Quick numbers. 16 gig RAM is the most popular one, and second place is 32 gigs at 32%. The most popular one for resolution is 1080p, surprisingly enough. PC gamers love to talk about 1440p and 4K gaming and stuff, but according to Steam, we're all playing 1080p.
Well, not me, but yes.
That's funny. And that's interesting you bring that up, because if you look at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, the minimum requirements are a 16 gig RAM, and then anything above minimum is 32. So they're definitely not hitting the majority.
Well, let's be fair. The minimum is the Xbox in this scenario.
Funny enough, the Xbox Series X's RAM is 16.
Or S.
I'm
pretty
sure.
This has got to run on the S too, correct?
Well, the Series X is 16. I don't know what the S's is. I can look it up real quick.
Well, it's just interesting. How did they get this to run on the S?
10 gigabytes of RAM on the 10 on the S. So
well, minimum has ray tracing required. So I assume they got rid of ray tracing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. That's likely not going to be baked into the S version. You would think not anyway, but also getting back to
looking at
lack of optimization.
Rudigs, like I was saying, man, the way some of this is baked in, it's like it's with path tracing on. The requirements, it seems. I don't know, though. I haven't seen the game. I haven't seen the settings within the menu on what you're able to turn off or not. But, you know.
Yeah.
Do we think that a game like Indiana Jones is then fine for the marketplace? I mean, Are they hitting the average gamer in the recommended area?
We're about to find out.
We're about to
That's
find
true.
out.
It's too early to tell, right? Too
I-
early to
Isn't
tell.
the review embargo supposed to go up today? The review embargo?
7 p.m. to
Why? Have
I
you
mean,
got a review for
listen,
us,
listen.
PlayStation Gamer? Have you got something you want to tell
Regardless,
us?
regardless of how the regardless of how the game plays, if you watch the trailer and stuff, it feels like a legitimate Indiana Jones adventure that they took pride in the IP and they try to do it justice. So if that says anything, it should be a decent game. But that is totally neglecting gameplay and how it's delivered to us in what state.
Yes, they captured the spirit of being an architect, going around stealing stuff from a bunch of poor people to put in a museum or sell off for profit.
Hey, don't put.
Don't be talking about English people like that.
Wait a second. We need to clear up. Okay, he is not an architect. He is an archaeologist. I am an architect. All right. There is a difference.
Yeah, you got the wrong
Hey, you
person
can
to
do
say that
all
to.
kinds of things in games.
Hit a soft spot.
Yeah,
I've watched a guy take out a whole construction crew with a
all I'm
yo-yo
gonna say is-
before.
All I'm gonna
All
say
right.
is Nathan Drake. At least Nathan Drake's honest. He knows he's a thief.
Well, you know what else? You know what else hit a soft spot as I move this panel along? Ubisoft
What
is
else?
going to be shutting down XDefiant.
Sunset.
What game was that
The
again?
game X
Wasn't there
Defiance
a
going
guy
to
on your podcast
sunset.
who used to really bat that game?
So we have I'm going to butcher his name, Yves Guillemont. Internal memo about XDefiant closure and the future of Ubisoft. So the memo emphasizes that the company's commitment to creating innovative and high quality games. We hope that they start to do that soon. And Guillemont has also highlighted the importance of adapting to the changing gaming landscape and focusing on the most promising projects. So I guess, narrowing in that focus and really hitting those IPs that hit well. I mean, they need some help. If you were hired to save Ubisoft, what is the first thing that you would do? Let's go down the panel.
Oh, and I put the message from Ubisoft. I put it in the chat if you guys want to see their message statement and what is sunsetting and what it means.
It's pretty generic.
And David, can you give that shout out? Sorry, I got a lot happening right now in front of me.
Yes, yeah. I actually wanted to just shout out on this topic. Purple Haze. I'm gonna link her show from last night. She did a special regarding this subject, and a little bit more broadly regarding the whole crisis that gaming is going through as an industry right now. Even touching on some of the things we talked about earlier with Unreal. But she did a show on this just last night. I'm gonna put it in the chat right here. It's definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. She had some very interesting thoughts. She's an educated person on the subject. So yeah, please go check out Purple Haze. Give her channel a like and a subscription if you like what you see. But yes, no, very interesting thoughts on XDefiant and the gaming industry right now.
Well, thanks for that. And let's get into as well as what would you do to save Ubisoft? What's going on here? Obviously, XDefiant is closing down in a couple months after a year of being on the marketplace. Unfortunately, its approach to free to play didn't hit quite the mark. It used something, or perhaps didn't use something called skill based matchmaking. And to be honest, I felt like that was always my issue with it. It just felt like every match was inconsistent. It was random, and I felt like people could just go in there and dominate all the noobs, and I would count myself as a noob. But what happened here? How would you save Ubisoft? What are you guys thinking?
Are we talking saving the company itself, or like because of the saving the game and the company? Because if we're talking saving the game, there was no saving it. That game was doomed to start. The problem with that game, and I said this in the chat on Purple Ace's stream, is it's just another game in a sea of games that is trying to justify. It's more of a clone. It's just trying to copy the Fortnite success or the Call of Duty success. It's the whole market all of these games, these first-person shooter games, are doing the exact same thing. Nothing sets them apart, and the entire market is oversaturated. There's no like something in that game that makes it stand out. You're just a carbon copy of two very successful games that basically took over the genre of first person shooter, and everything since then is trying to replicate it instead of going on their own and being your own thing and saying, look at what I can do. I'm different than all of these others that are basically the same thing. They did the same thing that every other industry, every other gaming company does. They churn out another free to play game by, with the pay to win stuff, or even if it's not, it's always the same stuff. There wasn't anything special about that there isn't in any other game that tries to compete with Call of Duty or with Fortnite. And I think
Okay.
that's the problem with why gaming is stale right now. Nobody's doing anything. You've got all of these games that are competing with successful franchises, and it's I don't know how Ubisoft can do anything else to
Can
save
I
it. I
can I
think
follow
somebody's got to.
after Riff? Can I follow
Yeah,
after Riff?
so
But
so
go ahead.
what
Go
would
ahead.
you do different? How would you save what's happening to X Defiant? Obviously X Defiant is shutting down, so what is Gulmont going to do? What do you think his next moves will be?
I got a personal thing I would do if I was in charge of Ubisoft. Go to Sony and say, please save us, because this is not working out the way we thought it would. This has gone really bad for us. Maybe not like Sony buy them, but like have someone like from their consulting group or something come in and like, hey, you guys need to just kind of focus on certain titles, and then
Hey,
kind of still have some of that new stuff, experimental stuff here and there. But stop trying to
Drew.
be the next Fortnite. Stop trying to be the next Call of Duty. Be the first. Be the first whatever party game, just as an example. But dude, I don't see Ubisoft being able to be saved unless they get some major help. I mean,
That's
real help. Like someone comes in and puts their foot on their neck.
Yeah, they need
No,
a
okay.
Kojima effect. But Ray, jump into yours. I know
Yes.
you're
All right. Let me tell you something. What they need to do, they need to stop chasing these damn trends. Whoever they got that's on the board and they're saying like, look, let's chase these trends and let's be like these other games. Let me tell you something. They got Ghost Recon. They've got the Rainbow Six Las Vegas. They've got Splinter Cell. They had Ghost Recon Wildlands, which was awesome. They had a giant map of Bolivia. You could fly. They need to go back to the what made them put them on the map and stop chasing these other games. I mean, they what did they have? They had a game. What was it? Roller derby game. They had a game where
yeah.
we were on bikes and in a giant land and skyrocketing in the air. And it's like, what the hell? Go
And
back to
Ray, don't
what
forget
puts you on the map.
Don't also forget
What?
they want to dabble into Bitcoin and all that shit too.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
to
I'm
Oh
point
just
yeah.
out.
like, I mean, what made you Ubisoft? I remember. I mean, good Lord, I loved Ghost Recon, Ghost Recon Thunder, Ghost Recon 2, Splinter Cell. I love those games, and I
Yeah,
wish they
sounds
could
great.
just go back. And I mean, cause hell, there's other people doing remakes and whatever of their other games. Dude, Rainbow Six now and how Las Vegas is right now, I would definitely do that. But right now, they need someone to buy them out because whoever's on the board or whoever's making decisions, they are losing money, crazy money. That's my point. That's me.
um,
Go for it,
yeah,
Micah.
I think they're making a lot of wrong decisions. Another issue is their consistency to ditch games super fast if they don't do well. Hyperscape is one that comes to mind with like the battle royale game that they basically killed off in a year because it didn't do as well as they wanted. And that's part of their issue is they need to set expectations, put a particular budget on this game, and then don't think that it's going to be the next Call of Duty, right? Because that's lightning in a bottle. You like just like Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, people didn't expect it to do as well as it did, and it
I
blew
did.
up. Well, not
It's
every.
a tangent, but
You know,
Helldivers 2 is a fad anyway.
Well,
It's the success Helldivers 2 has got is not going to last. It's
when
not
it
lightning in a bottle like COD. But anyway,
well,
when
no.
it
What I'm
comes
saying is
to
like that. How its initial success was like lightning in a bottle. You never
it
know
was. You're right. It was.
what's gonna trend, what's gonna do well, and it's
Again,
clear X Defiant didn't get that right.
slight tangent, but we've seen a bunch of booms like that recently in the past year or two. And you know what? It's always from the places you wouldn't expect, right? Whether it's a Helldivers, whether it's Pal World, whether it's Lethal Company, all of these grossing games, like right out of left field, things you would not have expected, but they make their mark on the map. There's been a handful of those.
Yeah. Like Vampire Survivors, like and
Another great one, yeah, another great one.
That was
yeah,
great.
and I mean it doesn't help like they got rid of the team doing Prince of Persia despite its critical acclaim this year. Like
Yeah.
like and they got rid of this X Defiant team now, and it's just
But it's
there's
crazy
too
when
many
it
because we see
when
companies.
it
these
comes to
cuts.
X Defiant, I don't think there was any saving this game. As Vet alluded to, it's an oversaturated market. The only way you're getting people is to cannibalize from other games that they're already invested in. X Defiant was probably just a bad roll of the dice for this type of game. But when it comes to the actual saving Ubisoft, it comes down to leadership. As Crow was mentioning in the chat, the leadership went out of their way to tell you get used to not owning your games,
Yeah, that's
people.
what hurt them.
Like wasn't good. They've got all these great IPs that they do nothing with because of leadership and the trends that they chase. And a trend today takes 8 years to make the game. The same trend may not hold up by then. And then like I think the live service debacle for the PlayStation 5 and this generation for consoles is going to be really bad because in 10 years when you try to go back and play anything retro, what are you going to actually play? What's going to be there? I think it comes down to leadership. To save Ubisoft, they have to have a strong leader who actually cares for these things, like for polish, for just a whole heap of things, man. The more corporate and the bigger they got, the less their games became interactive and the less polish, and it's just an industry standard now, man. Like I can watch a Ubisoft game, a character run across the screen, interact with an object, and I'm like, oh, Ubisoft. Like
But
I
that,
can
do you know
already
what?
tell.
That was it. They were making a name for themselves up until that name actually became a curse, and it became the Ubisoft curse. It became, oh, that looks like a Ubisoft game, right? I mean, they were on a steady up and up. I've checked these stock times, the stocks for Ubisoft a few times when we've talked about them, because we've talked about them a few times on this show. And they were on a steady up and up until 2018, and then in 2020 they had another little boom, but they've been on a downward spiral since 2018, and I feel like that's roughly when we all started feeling a little bit stale with that Ubisoft formula, right? Resting on their laurels, and we see it so much across the industry.
Do
Hey,
you
can
know
I
what
just
came
add
out in
one more thing?
2020 where it had that boom?
Go for it. Go for it.
It
Valhalla.
was Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was one of their most sold
Yes.
Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
titles.
And
No, yeah, you're
so
right. Yeah.
much
That's what hurt
content.
them too.
So
Can,
much content.
So much.
can I
Yeah.
add one more thing
I went
also?
insane playing that game.
I'm a Ubisoft Plus
Me.
subscriber, and this is not good when I'm paying a subscription. And might I add, they went up in price. um, this is not good. It's not good because it's like you put a game out and then the game is going sunsetting. Let me explain what sunsetting is all about. Oh yeah, you guys really didn't own the game anyway, so don't worry about it. But if I'm gonna like, I don't know, dude, because you get the game, you get the Hey, I like the game. I'm gonna purchase the game, and then I'm gonna get the DLC, and then guess what? They pulled the plug on the game. That's not good.
Well,
Not
they
good.
gambled on the Game Pass model too, and I think it really affected them with Star Wars, and it was about to really affect them with their bread and butter Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think? I think I've always said gaming is a popularity contest, and I think the thing is, what's popular in gaming is probably the downfall in gaming, and it's live service. So when I was a big fan of Marvel Avengers, right? Just watching the trailers before it even came out. I made a video 30 days before it came out, and I said, I hope it's not live service, right? Like, I hope they don't focus too heavily. And they did. And I feel that was the death of them. So here's what I mean, right? All these games are chasing the Fortnite, or even Call of Duty was pretty much you had a you had the story mode and your PvP, right? And then eventually they caught on, like, wait, we could do Warzone when it was first in Black Ops 3, right? When it was called, I guess, Blackout, right? And so it worked for them because whoa, Call of Duty's doing Battle Royale. So I think the thing is though, is everybody want to have this live service, meaning whether you pay for it or it's free and you add stuff, but the goal is to be able to make money, right? If it's free or whatever, but you have to keep it sustainable. Look at The Last of Us, one of the top games in the last like however long, and they couldn't do their live service, but they wanted to, right? So I just feel the issue is people are playing live services, and that's the game you play forever, right? You play Fortnite, it does this, it does that, give you every 3 months they change this. And so what's happening is gaming is kind of shrinking, right? It's like the mentality of gamers. I don't want to play that game because I just want to play this game. Like if you look up the top games played on a PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, you'll see these like, oh wait, people are just playing like a college football, or they're playing these live service games. So the thing is, how do we get back to making a really great single player game? Well, you got Sony talking about they wanted to do what, 12 live service games, didn't work out, right? So I think the thing is maybe Ubisoft won't be saved because they're not as popular anymore. Like you said, in 2020 they had their last big burst. Maybe Ubisoft might have to use, and I don't know if Ubisoft Scaler is a thing because none of you guys mentioned that, but Ubisoft Scaler was mind blowing, what, 2 years ago when they showed it, right? Maybe they might just say, you know what, our games aren't popular, and maybe we can't make a great um live service game that people are going to keep coming to, and maybe they should try to stick to their single player games and maybe have a multiplayer mode. But unfortunately the popular thing is live service, and the thing is, if you're not the biggest, the best live service, people are going to play your stuff for maybe a year, maybe 6 months, maybe 2 3 months, and then they're going to just jump on the Fortnite or the Call of Duty or the super big popular one. So I almost feel like because video games and popular contents is making us shrink. The more we try to expand and come out with cooler stuff, is like SPG was saying, it's really just the same thing you already played. Like no one mentioned it, but X Defiance thing was to pretty much be a kind of Call of Duty, but with Ubisoft characters. That's the whole thing. They got so many characters, but again, those characters like, oh, like they don't even, really follow up with those individual games. So some newer people are playing it like, I don't even know who these characters are. So you're not really getting the impact that they probably wanted to be like, oh, I could run around with the guy from this game. So I just think, unfortunately, as we move forward, companies still want to get the lightning in the bottle. They still want to get their live service game, and it's just not working. And so, but that's where we're thinking is popular. Like, look, tonight, Marvel Rivals will be coming out right at 7 p.m. Eastern, and again,
And Ray, what did your son say about that?
oh, my son.
No, Ray's.
Oh, so yeah, that's
Fortnite for
pretty much
life.
what I want to say.
Right, but
Ray
he
said,
also
Hey,
Ray
to be
said, "Hey,
fair,
Evan,
Fortnite,
Marvel's
Fortnite this
Rivals
season's
is
got
coming out."
Godzilla. Just saying, Fortnite's got
Yeah,
Godzilla this
he
season.
said the hell with Marvel Rivals, Dad. It's all about Fortnite. They don't have Snoop Dogg or Eminem.
There you go.
And but I will say this, dude. I'm like, wait a minute. You know about Eminem? And he's like, oh, dude, he's so cool. I'm like, dude, you never heard an Eminem, never listened to his. What do you mean?
Who's
But,
Slim Shady?
Your mom letting you listen to?
Eminem, he's that character from Fortnite Battle Pass 23, right?
But
That's
you know
who
what?
Eminem
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah, that's where he's
When
from.
I mention Eminem, he says, "Oh my God, Dad, that is so old. That is so like." But
Can I offer
Fortnite,
some final
Fortnite.
thoughts on Ubisoft?
Go for it.
I feel like we're rounding this off at this point, and I just wanted to say, just as another perspective, because we're all giving Ubisoft kind of a bit of shit, right? We're all kind of saying like they've
For good
took a
reason.
million chances, they're failing, they're not doing well, they need to do something different, and we're right in a way. I mean, Star Wars Outlaws, Skull and Bones, now even X Defiant, we're seeing them take chances over and over again and fail over and over again, but On the other hand, Assassin's Creed, and the upcoming title, more specifically of Assassin's Creed, the one with Yasuke, that controversy is keeping it somewhat trendy. And the last Assassin's Creed game, as I think Maker just brought up when we were talking about Ubisoft previously, the last Assassin's Creed, sorry, I can't speak. The last Assassin's Creed game, boomed Ubisoft. It did so amazing for it. So
the last Assassin's Creed game was Mirage.
oh
Actually,
yeah,
came out
well,
after.
okay.
Yes,
Let's
that was
another
awesome.
failure. Another failure.
Let's not talk about that
Yeah,
one.
thank you.
Let's
Thank
go
you.
back one.
Thank you,
forgettable.
Cowboy.
Alright, that was
Thank you.
forgettable.
I'll give him a type of
Thank you.
Like that one. That's the good one.
I personally
But
think Ubisoft.
anyway,
Bro,
I
that
think-
game was a mirage.
exactly. But so the controversy of the upcoming Assassin's Creed is keeping it relevant, which might make another boom like Valhalla if it's done right. And then on top of that, they also squeezed their way into the Activision Blizzard deal to get a nice slice of that pie too. So I'm not so sure that Ubisoft is failing as hard as we're saying it is. It might just be going through some growing pains as well as having a few risks not pay off. But that doesn't mean they don't still have aces up their sleeve.
Listen,
Like they're part of the Activision Blizzard. Like
Ubisoft
what
has a
Anthony brought up
launcher.
with Ubisoft Scalar. Scalar still hasn't become incredibly relevant, but it's there. They're still doing stuff. So
Look,
Ubisoft
you say-
have got value. They've
you
got
say
aces.
we don't- You say we don't know if Ubisoft is hurting. Let me explain something to you.
I'm
They
not
have
saying
their-
we don't know if they're hurting. I just
They-
don't know if it's as bad as what we're
They
saying.
have their own launcher, which means you have to go through them, or you did, to get to their games. That wasn't working out for them. Now they're on Steam again, to where you can just go buy them outright.
I'm not saying they're not hurting. I'm not saying they're obviously hurting. They've
I
definitely
will-
took risks that have failed, but I'm just saying maybe they
Right.
can take it on the chin. Maybe they still have aces up their
I
sleeve
will-
that make these cards that we've seen not really matter as much.
Right.
You know?
I will.
Who knows?
I will say this though. I mean, I got an email the other day, and it was regarding Skull and Bones, and they want to sit down with a bunch of players. They're even going to pay them money to sit down and talk about it. Because they really want feedback. How can we improve our game? What do we need to do? So they are working on it. They are trying to talk to gamers. They are trying to,
Yes, but Ray, they've had the feedback they've needed the whole time for Skull and Bones. I want to be a pirate. I want to swashbuckle. I want to shoot somebody with a musket. If they don't put those things in the game, they're not listening. They don't want actual.
I will say this. Not everybody's got to be like a certain game. There is a game that should be what they want to be. But there's nothing wrong getting feedback and stuff like that. But I think also another problem is this game's got to be like this game's got to be like that. And
No, correct. What they want you to do is give them feedback of, hey, this cannon's overpowered. This one needs to be dialed in. How come poison hurts me out on the water? They don't want to hear, hey, I want to actually be a pirate. I want to swashbuckle. I want
They want improvement, but not big improvements.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to improve what they
I'm
already
sorry,
have.
I'm on the camp.
I mean, I get it. If they would have sold the game as you're a boat.
I mean, if they, I'm like, look, dude, what you guys need to do is you got to have somebody walking on the island, not just, doing a scavenger hunt, but probably do a little bit more, entice little people or something. I don't know, some fighting or something, but I don't know. I
think Ubisoft needs to stop resting, and X-Defiant is a good way to put a nail in the coffin of old IPs. It is time to come up with brand new ideas. Take some goddamn mushrooms, go into a forest, and think up of something that is not Assassin's Creed 15. Like,
I think they did
it.
take the mushrooms. I think they did take the mushrooms on
like,
some of these games they did in the past.
Stop trying to come out with something old. Make something new. Make something exciting. Do what you did when you first became a company and made Assassin's Creed Generation 1. Made that first Prince of Persia. Made Rainbow Six. Like, do that again. Restart.
Well, the problem is they're not supporting those games. Like Prince of Persia did really well. Like people liked Prince of Persia. It just didn't sell the numbers that they wanted to. I think they said it sold over 1 million copies, which it's like, well, then how much do you want? Like, do you want like 5 million? Are you thinking that a Metroidvania is gonna like just blow off the shelves? It's not Call of Duty.
I want to give Ubisoft one credit though. I remember maybe 4 years ago when we was all big into Ghost Recon right before I guess when Breakpoint came out. And I remember I made a video because it was mesmerizing that when one calendar year Ubisoft had five AAA games came out in 1 year. And I was like, oh, that was kind of crazy because I can't think of another company in 1 year had five AAA games. And it wasn't a sports game. And I remember making that video like, wow. And that was back in the Stadia days. But I think Ubisoft, like, yeah, we're giving them hell. But I think like Wilson is saying, I mean, listen, we're saying like, hey, they don't do this, they don't do that. They definitely take risks. Like Ray was saying, you got stuff like Riders, Republic, and stuff like that, right? And then I mean, they have their legacy stuff like Assassin's Creed. I just think the problem is probably what SPG said, and what I was saying is the popularity. Unfortunately, people just don't like the Ubisoft style games anymore. And even if they make a game that's different, it still is developed by Ubisoft, and and again, I think they should make it feel like Ubisoft, but unfortunately it's just not popular anymore. And popularity is really the key because that's how you make money. So, but I got to give them credit. Like again, you can name whatever companies you want, right? Maybe Microsoft would be the new company because they own everything. So in a couple years, everything will technically be a Microsoft game under their umbrella. But Ubisoft, man, the games I mean, you guys remember they had what like it was just all these games was coming out, and it's just, I mean, I give them
Well,
credit
you have
for
to
that.
play to your base as well. You have to make games for the customers you actually have, not the ones you want. Everyone wanted Black Flag combat in a real pirate game that had nothing to do with Assassin's Creed. We asked for it. We wanted it. We didn't get it. We wanted a multiplayer where we could fight each other on the boats. We didn't get it. What we finally got was Skull and Bones. And that is not what anybody asked for at all.
But you know what? When I worked in the corporate world and my boss used to come in and he used to give me, Ray, I need you to hit these sell goals, and I would look at him, dude, what the hell are you smoking? And I think some of these game companies, man, they're setting these goals so damn high for these games, and they're just bombing, and they're not hitting those goals. And I just, it's crazy.
I mean,
man.
even
really
Marvel
crazy.
can't save some of these games. They slapped all the Suicide Squad in the game, and it flopped hard.
Isn't that DC? Whoa! That's DC, bro. Marvel can save a game.
Sorry. Marvel can still sell a game. Yeah, that's right.
What about Marvel Avengers died a cold death?
It did,
but it's sold. It's sold.
Yeah.
I do want to bring this one thing
I don't think
up.
it's sold as much as they wanted.
So, has Ubisoft ever given us an official update of what's going on with Beyond Good and Evil 2? Because I think that game's still in active development, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most of the
Yeah,
Lost
because I think
Crown
that game's
team
been in development longer than Duke Nukem Forever.
Well, I actually have an article up about the closure of the studio that made Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Most of the team behind that were shifted over to Beyond Good and Evil when the studio closed.
Oh wow!
So that's still in the works. But yeah, I was mostly wanting to bring up the fact that when they closed the studio for the Prince of Persia team, they announced or it was found out that they did sell over 1 million copies of Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, but it fell short of Ubisoft's quote unquote ridiculously high expectations.
They wanted 5 million. That's what I would assume is what would be ridiculous.
Personally, I feel like all Ubisoft games feel very underdeveloped. Like they lack a lot.
Lately,
like
they have
the detail that other games have. You know.
I don't know. Maybe in
only
certain
ones
ways,
that-
make
that
up
I,
for it in
like,
others. I mean,
really
have you seen the historical modes?
No, I have not.
No, okay,
Assassin's
Wilson,
Creed.
no. I'm gonna stop you here because nobody pays attention to the historical mode in Assassin's
they go to
Creed.
photo
Talking
mode.
about
They play
detail.
photo
Talking
mode.
about
Okay, photo mode.
detail.
Photo mode
Yeah, there
is
you go. Here's the
trendy,
photo
and
mode.
it's for artists. All right, people appreciate photo mode. All right, people are like
My
brand new
God.
updates to Stellar Blade photo mode. greatest thing ever. So photo mode
Rudix
is
is
trendy.
like, if I want historical
I'm with
accuracy, I'll go watch
David.
the
I'm
History
with you,
Channel, or not.
David. I'm with you in history. I
Thank
love
you, Ray.
history, David. I'm
Thank
with
you,
you
Ray.
with
Thank
history.
you. Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
I didn't
are
hear
we,
that.
does anyone
I
else
didn't
have
hear that.
big thoughts on Ubisoft? Because I feel like we've covered it, haven't we?
Oh
I don't
my
know.
Yeah, I mean,
gosh.
Like so much.
I think
yeah.
we've got a good coverage of it for sure. I wish we could get to some other topics today. But
Let's
unfortunately, I
just
think
burn through them. Come on, let's just burn through it. Let's like get through it real quick.
yeah, there's no quick firing through a panel of 15 people here.
Do you want
But
to
I
just go
think
over real quick?
TPT stress, I'm sure.
I think that was a great thing. Okay, well, we can tell people Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will have a 7-day free trial starting next week, likely to attract new players. I don't know why they need it being the #1 Call of Duty of all time so far, but here you have bringing in even more people with a 7-day free trial. So that
I'll
is
give it a
good
try
to
for
know.
free.
And also former PlayStation boss. Oh my god, see this actually could get people talking for a while. Former
Is it the
PlayStation
Sean Lane
boss
one?
says you're not going to see another PS1 to PS2 jump in performance and believes we're nearing a point where consoles will become irrelevant.
I mean, he's
I
not
should have
wrong to a
started
certain
with this
point.
Yeah.
one.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute.
Wait, yeah, I
It's
know
been irrelevant for
SPG.
10 years.
There
You know what? But here's the thing.
What
That's coming
the
from
hell?
Sean Layden, and the thing is, he does have some insight of how things are going. Now, consoles, as in a traditional console, yeah, I see it being relevant, but gaming will be more relevant. Yeah, again, cloud thumbsticks. Just saying.
I think
Yeah.
what the future is gonna hold is systems with like removable graphics cards and like upgrades. Like there's gonna be like a PlayStation that's almost like a
Wait,
computer, but
I was gonna say, so you're talking about PCs? You're talking about PCs?
yeah, but like Sony's gonna not give up on the idea of PlayStation. You know, they're not gonna just throw it away. So I
Well,
think that
no, I mean, we're already seeing
some people, and then
Xbox.
some people aren't like technically challenged. You know, so they're like
We're
it's gonna
already
be
seeing
something where
If they
Xbox
make
pivot
a
away.
Sony or a PlayStation GPU,
be more
that would
plug and
convert
play.
me to a PC gamer.
Okay, so
No.
here's the question I have to ask the panel here real quick.
Oh,
So
goodness,
is
we're gonna-
PlayStation the console or is it the games? Is it the console or the brand?
Oh wow,
Well,
you know
Both.
that PlayStation gamer, I just want to give you credit for a very insightful question there.
Well, they do both.
PlayStation is it's the console. The brand is Sony, and that actually, I was gonna say, Microsoft are already pivoting away from the name of Xbox. They haven't gotten rid of it yet by any stretch of the means, but we've seen them pivoting away different services that used to be called Xbox Gold, for example, and Xbox Gold benefits and things like that. We're seeing a lot more Game Pass. Now we're seeing xCloud. They're removing the Xbox from the name, so maybe that brand is like, or that subset of the Microsoft brand still exists, but they're definitely moving it forward into something else because they're getting ready to get rid of the box.
Well, I
I'm sure
think this-
PlayStation are going to do the same thing too.
For the
I
short
mean,
term, this is wrong.
I
For the
would
short term.
I would argue PlayStation is doing the same route. They're going
yeah.
to shift to the cloud. Everything can be used as a PlayStation route as well. We're seeing more and more titles release on
PlayStation Portal.
PC.
All I'm gonna say is that update was
PlayStation-
not by accident.
PlayStation Portal and you can now stream through cloud, so you can play PlayStation games without owning a PlayStation or a PC now.
Well,
which is
what this tells me or says to me is APUs are going to be irrelevant, and I don't believe that.
I think it's all a cloud. Cloud to me is the future. I mean, it's the way all other media has gone. Like if you look at the music industry, you look at the movie industry, both have shifted to streaming services, and gaming is next.
I think one and the same to
I've been
answer the
playing on my
question.
back.
I think one and the same to answer the question is PlayStation brand is based off of their library of games, or is it the console? I think it's kind of the same. I think when you think of PlayStation, there's certain games like when I was in the Stadia and I was coming out of Stadia and I was remember thinking like, man, Xbox now got this Game Pass and you could get all the games. But what made me say no, I'm getting a PlayStation was those PlayStation games. And even though Xbox was touting that they had the most powerful console and they had for at the time like 14.99 you get all the games, I still went with a PlayStation where I would have to buy my games because of those games. So I think it kind of comes down to third party really helps carry these generations, right? We could go on Halo, we could go on God of War, whatever, but we got few and far between to these first person games. But the third party games is what carry you. But those little nuggets of like certain games on PlayStation that you feel like is a PlayStation experience. Now, I don't feel the cloud is relevant for me because yeah, you could play a PlayStation game on a portal without without a console, but you're playing the super old, outdated game, right? When you want that new experience, like it's nothing like, and if you like it, right? So you might say like, I don't like any game, so I'll play whatever. That was like a Stadia thing. I remember a lot of people in Stadia, they didn't care, they play whatever. And my gripe was always like, I'm about the games, right? So when you have a certain game come out and you need that game, you want that game. Not you just say I'll wait 2 years for it to come to PC, but you want that game, right? PlayStation has those certain games for those people that like I have to have that experience. And playing the 10-year-old version on cloud isn't going to do it, right? Waiting 2 years on PC isn't going to do it. Now, yeah, in the future, those gaps of time might be smaller, but currently you still need a PlayStation to play some of these games, even if it might take 2 years for them to come out with the next whatever big game, right? Maybe, it's taking less and less time for them to have these big budget games that like, oh, they're, when PlayStation's coming out more frequently. But at the end of the day, PlayStation, I think, is its games. And I think this is why they'll never fully just say all their games could be on everything, right? At the same time, I think their strategy is smart. Hey, still make sure we have brand recognition. So you have to get a PlayStation to play these games. But listen, if you want cloud, then yeah, you can play the 10-year-old game. And oh, if you want to play it on PC, sure, wait 2 years or whatever, right? And so I think to answer his question is it's kind of the PlayStation's brand are the games. And now
The the problem I have with that is the stat that they came out earlier this year that half of the PlayStation users are still on the PS4, and a vast majority of people, the most played
Well,
games
that could be chalked. That could be chalked up to
PlayStation
it's just there hasn't been a
are
big
on games like
AAA game
10
that's
years old.
pushed them to get to the PS5. Sorry.
Which shows that the money and time played is in games that are not the new and shiny thing. It's stuff that's been out for
Well,
years.
yeah, but here's the thing. So again, like I said, it's popularity contest, right? Obviously, you got so many PlayStation 4s, right? And again, I bring up kids. People, we talk because we're adults, right? But we forget we got kids. And if you don't got kids, people got kids, right? You adults aren't just saying, well, I'm going to spend $500, $700 to get my kid the new thing. No. So these companies know, like, hey, they got so many more PlayStation 4s in the market, right? So that's an obvious number that we can't excuse. But developers also can say, I don't want my game to be on last gen. And then you have some developers like, listen, I'm going to get the money and make a version for both last gen and current gen. So I get what you're saying, Maker, but I don't think it really excuse my point because it just makes sense. You're not going to say, hey, let's get rid of all these PlayStation 4s because there's so many of them, right? But going in the future, if they do say this game is only on a PlayStation 5 or right, then like if you really wanted that game, that's your only choice, right? And then again, I guess it's a little smart to still make a version on the PlayStation 4 as well for the games
But
that did that.
yeah, and the problem I have with that is we're seeing more and more titles release on multiple platforms, like
Right.
Concord,
Black
Helldivers was
Friday, I
banned
saw
on
Black
PC.
Friday. I was at Best Buy. I saw PS5 Pros going out the door, dude. I saw
Mar-
them people stacking them up, going out.
PS5 Pro.
Marathon is going to be on multi-plat. Like I just see that be the future forward is because PlayStation's going to want more and more revenue, so they're going to start to release those games. at a faster time
No,
onto other
I
platforms.
agree with you, but if you name these games you're talking about, you're not saying The Last of Us, you're not saying a God of War, you're
Well, The
not
Last of
saying
Us
an
remastered
Uncharted,
release.
you're not.
Okay,
Huh?
well, to be fair, their plans are day and date for their big multiplayer games. But as far as like their single player stuff, it sounds like their plans are between 6 months to a year after release on console.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's not that long to wait, Cowboy. I mean, frick, you
No, listen,
could
again, like I said, if you had to have
it-
that game, you're buying it. You're not if you're waiting 6 months or a year or two, then you really wasn't that big of a fan of that game, and that's fine. You know.
I
The
would
Last
just
of
like
Us
to
Part-
state I play all of my Xbox exclusives and PlayStation exclusives where they play best. My PC.
Oh yeah, brother.
Yeah, 2 years later.
But
I'm all right with the
see,
wait,
Well,
man.
the problem
have
with
a- I
that
have
is
a-
like Last of Us Part 1 released 6 months after PlayStation 5 onto PC. Like we're like Spider-Man is a little over a year. Spider-Man 2 a little over a year is releasing on PC. The time between is getting slower. Like
it's getting smaller and smaller because
yeah.
Sony's looking at that like, well, wait a minute, maybe we should jump on this while we have a chance to
I
make a
don't.
little bit
I
extra
think.
money.
I think they're dabbling. I think what they're doing is smart. They're saying, hey, if you want this game day and date, you still need a PlayStation. But we're not gonna. Hey, listen, there's still money to be made, so we're still gonna put it on the other consoles, or not the console, but the PC eventually. So I feel like if you're a gamer, you can't brag over getting a game that you really wanted 6 months later. Like there's stories that's gonna be ruined. There's like people are gonna be better than you. Like I don't. If you're a gamer, you don't be like, well, I got it 6 months
Grand
later
Theft
and
Auto.
higher frames.
But people are doing that
Oh
with
my
Indiana
God,
Jones.
whatever.
Like people who are PlayStation fans are saying that with Indiana Jones, we can just wait 6 months for
Well,
Indiana
if you all
Jones.
want to chuckle, some people bought an Xbox for Starfield. So there's that.
God damn.
Well,
I
this
don't
is all
think
while
Indiana-
consoles are relevant, though. I mean, how much longer do we know that consoles are going to be relevant? 5 years, 10, 20 max, really?
Well, we
I mean,
already know
what are
they're
the-
planning the PS7, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
And we
exactly
know they're
how
planning a
many
handheld
more
as well.
generations? How many more generations of
I,
these
I think
consoles are we going to
honestly,
see?
I think
We know
honestly,
it isn't going to last forever. We know that
So-
much. I'm not
so
saying it's going
David,
to end right now, but it's
I
not going to
disagree.
last forever.
I
so
got
David,
an
I'll say
exact.
this.
I got
David,
an
Have
I'll
you
say
exact
seen
number.
America's
That's not
president?
forever.
We've got 5 to 6 years tops as humanity.
I'll say this. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you come from if you're a PC fan, obviously, right, you get it. You're a PC fan. But I think what you exclude is people like me. Dude, I don't want to tinker. I don't want to like. I think that's what consoles do. Is just plug and play. So at the end of the day, like we can't make it like, well, console is gonna be irrelevant eventually.
That's what
Like,
I'm trying
dude,
to
what
say.
you gonna hold up? You gotta groom the generations to say I want to be a tinkerer. If you can't do that, then consoles is still going to be a thing.
They're
'cause
doing it
regardless-
now with the PS5
I don't,
Pro.
That's what I was
I
trying
don't
to
think it's
say
about
earlier.
tinkering. I think it's about cloud and putting it on your TV as an app. Like that's going to be the next thing.
That's,
I don't.
that's,
That's
You
what I'm
just
getting
load up
to,
the
Mecca.
app. You
This
turn
is
on
what
your
I'm getting
controller.
to.
It links to it, and
Consoles
you just play it.
I just think the
don't- I
input
don't
lag
think
isn't
cloud
going to
is
be
the
worth
future
it
of
though.
gaming.
Personally, like
Sorry, why do you disagree, Jem? You
I don't
think it's
think
gonna...
cloud is definitely not the future for gaming.
yeah,
And
I agree.
we played the best version of cloud gaming,
I
which was
agree.
Stadia, and they achieved what they wanted to achieve. But the rest of the cloud services are just I don't even want to try them.
I literally
but-
was just playing on
but here's the
PlayStation
thing,
Plus
cloud
Premium,
gaming-
and it was running
Cloud
smooth, so.
gaming is an alternative gaming, just like mobile gaming, console
Yeah.
gaming, PC gaming, and handheld gaming. Cloud gaming is just its own separate thing, and we will have people who will only play on the cloud,
Right.
and we'll have people who only play on console, only play on handhelds, and we have mobile gamers, which I don't even consider them as gamers, but here we are.
So the
That's-
cloud
oh,
wars
no.
have
That's some
started.
elitist
That's-
talk right there,
I'm a little
man.
hurt by that, Jim.
So
That's kind
so-
of the point I'm making, Jim. Carry on, though.
But you're saying it's the future, like you're saying it as it's gonna.
I'm not saying
replace-
cloud is. I'm saying console isn't. I'm not
Uh,
saying cloud specifically
but-
is. That wasn't my overarching
Okay,
point. My
PC
overarching
Master
point
Race.
is that console isn't.
Okay, here's my
No.
another point. I don't think consoles going anywhere. I think when I die of old age, there's still going to be consoles.
I agree.
And
Oh, I mean,
because
people still get
here's-
vinyl. Right?
Here's why. Here's why.
Consoles are not going to
uh,
be vinyl, Maker. They don't
he-
make new vinyl.
here's why I'm so
People collect
confident.
PS2s and PS1s. Sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
Here's why I'm so confident on why consoles aren't going anywhere. Because for the last 30 years, I've been playing on PC. PC is so much superior than consoles in every
Oh
fucking way.
God.
In every way. But guess what? Guess what? There's still millions and millions of people who play on console. I don't get it, but yet the numbers are there. And despite PC's epicness, there's still console players. So console is 100%, no, 1000% is not going anywhere. It's not being replaced. The future I can see for consoles is the Switch route, where you just have handheld hybrid, where you could plug it to your TV or take it on the
This
go, just like the Switch.
That's
I
more
think
what I mean.
I
That's a
agree.
more nuanced version of
ugh,
what
That'd be
I
the
mean.
best
I was
one.
saying it very bluntly, but I just think we're going to lose these big boxes. We're going to lose, almost in a way, maybe we're going to lose some of the Xbox versus Sony necessarily boxes. We're going to end up with handhelds. We're going to end up with our mobiles that have got backbone attachments. And as soon as you get home, you will connect to either the Sony app or to the Xbox app, or even the Nvidia app or the AMD app, and then in there will be different stores, such as the Sony store, such as the Game Pass store, and through those you'll either have subscriptions, or if you've got enough money, you'll even have your own PC, or you'll outright buy those games on those storefronts. But it's all going to be more compacted, more condensified. I feel like what we see as current consoles, it's like retro arcade machines, right? Arcade machines now are becoming incredibly retro, and they still have a place. They've definitely still got a place to be used, but they aren't the same as what they used to be in gaming. Why? Because they're too big. We can get games much more easily now on a small box in your living room. Well, that small box is still a little bit too big for what we currently like in terms of technology, right? Exactly what you're saying, Jem. We're going to pivot to some type of handheld route. I just don't know if we're going to keep the exclusivity. We're
As
seeing exclusivity fade. So I don't think we're going to have a handheld Sony device or Microsoft device. I could be wrong on that one, but I think we're going to have our handheld device, which is still going to be Apple or Android or whatever. And then through that, you'll have subscriptions or access to storefronts that will attach to tiles and then cloud and then maybe your own PC if you've got it, and it'll all be fluent between your TV at home, your headset VR, your mobile, all of that. It'll translate through all
No,
of that, and you won't have a
only on,
gaming console. That's
uh,
what I mean.
only reason why I'm disagreeing with you, because that's a
hold,
lot of money on the table that
can,
some people are gonna lose. Who was
can,
willing to lose
can,
out on all that
can,
money?
can I say something real quick? I
Yeah.
had this argument back in 1999. That's all I got to say.
Damn.
Well, elaborate.
Hey, before Netflix.
Had this argument back in 1999. People were talking about the consoles, and people were talking about shit when they had XP and Windows 98 versus the fucking game consoles back then. So, and guess what? All that's still here.
Yeah,
Just
I
saying.
agree with that completely.
I think
Just
it's
saying.
gonna be more.
I
Go
think
ahead.
when the trend is that we're seeing more and more cloud users and more people utilizing cloud, I think more people are going to use it as a convenience, and as it gets better, as
It is
connections get
convenience.
better, as technology within cloud streaming gets better, I think that's going to be utilized more and more and more. Because it will be simple in the long run. If it's just an app on your TV, I think that they're trying to nab that casual player, the person who plays on their phone and on their TV. That's going to be the target.
I think it's hit a plateau. I think console has hit a plateau. And I think we'll probably see more evidence, if I'm right or wrong, or along these lines with the results of the PlayStation, the 5 Pro and the numbers that we see on that compared to the previous generations, right? But I personally think consoles have plateaued and that we're going to see them phase into something different. I don't think they're going to be gone like arcade machines aren't gone, but I think we're going to see them lose their current foothold.
Well,
And
if
Well,
I
we're
think
already
we're
we've
seeing that.
already seen that. Right now, we're seeing the
Yeah.
hybrid console at its birth. It's the PS5
Yeah.
Pro because we're bringing AI frame generation to keep up with the software. I think what will happen is maybe not cloud enabled. Perhaps we'll have more cloud enabled games such as Call of Duty, right? That loads textures in the cloud for multiplayer. So perhaps we'll see more of that in combination with AI frame generation built right into the console, constantly updating that, like we said earlier on the show. So I at in the beginning of this segment, I would have said no. I don't think consoles will have life past PS7. But now I kind of feel like maybe Jem is right, and we'll see consoles until the end of time because there'll
Yeah.
always be a market. People will always try to sell it, and if we can improve it by combining it with a hardware software um super machine like the PS5 Pro being greater than even a PC at times, a lot of PCs on the market. So
Come
APUs,
on.
APUs are
Someone
getting
play that
better and
horse
better.
button. What are you
I,
saying?
I,
What are you
I,
Dedicated
Wow.
shit, no.
I think
saying?
That was a
I
dig,
want
bro.
to say
That was a
I want
That
to
dig.
was sly. That was
I,
so sly. He
I
tried to
want to say
slip it
I
in.
agree.
Yeah,
I
that's a bit of a big move.
I want to say I agree that consoles will always have a place, but it won't always be the majority.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
well, according to
consoles
Joe,
are.
we're not sorry, so go for it.
I was just gonna say back to my idea earlier. I think consoles are gonna be more streamlined, and they're gonna be more like PCs to where like instead of you're not gonna have to put a graphics card on a motherboard, but you're probably just gonna have to plug in a graphics card like a simple plug and play kind of thing. I think that's what it's gonna lead to because yeah, people want the like PC power, but they don't want to do the building of a PC, you know?
Y- So you know what's funny is
Listen,
consoles did that.
APUs.
So now we're backing up. Remember 32X? Remember the the Sega CD? Like remember TurboGrafx Duo? Like they did that back in the day where you just
They did.
slapped on another attachment and gave more power. Remember the Nintendo 64
Yeah.
had that other little
The
piece you
expansion
could open
pack.
up?
The
Yeah,
Yeah,
expansion
remember
pack.
that? Yeah, they did that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're gonna be able to
yeah.
just
But when it
pull
comes
out
to
a graphics card,
APUs,
plug another one in.
the tech is growing in leaps and bounds, man. Look at the Steam Deck. Look at all the handhelds that are going out that can play a whole bunch of PC games. So
And for the
AP
dummies on the panel, yeah, you were just about to get into that. Okay,
yeah,
go.
so it's basically the exact same tech that's in your PlayStation. It's just not as powerful as of yet, but they're getting there every step of the way. The APUs are getting better and better. Now, is it going to outbeat dedicated hardware with its own RAM and all that? No, no, not at all. But it's getting there. Like the power you can get in a handheld now is remarkable, especially when you look at the desktop variant and how much wattage it took. Like these things are getting better. So the thought that that there's not going to be any significant jump just because moving from console to the next console if they make one, that's going to be straight up bullshit. The tech always gets better. It's up to them and what they put in it. APUs are remarkable. I'm not saying that they are the future, but like they will make an APU one day that's as powerful as my rig right now with a 12th Gen i9 and a 4090. It's years off, but they're going to get there.
I don't think it's necessarily that the tech's not going to improve. It's that they're now at the point where diminishing returns is catching up, and that's going to be the main issue.
You see, my point is, I agree with you. Like every upgrade is just less and less, like visually, um, but like I said back in the day, like 30, 20 years ago, PC gaming had a much bigger gap compared to consoles than they do right now. So it should give the opposite effect. It should be that if there's still console players today, then there'll still be console players in the future because they never changed 20, 30 years ago, even though um, it would have been better, but they didn't. So yeah, I think it's just gonna stay forever. It's just gonna evolve into something else, like again, like portable or handheld or whatever, a hybrid. It's just gonna evolve, but it will still be there.
Well, to be fair, some of us feel like it's not necessarily better or worse. I mean, if you listen to the marketing out there, we're on par, if not better. with all our counterparts out there in the gaming world.
Oh,
I know I love my blast processing.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, um,
PSSR. Come on, man. That's like the modern day blast processing. Except I can prove it exists.
K120.
but
AK
PSSR is
one
something new, right? We're going to be able to see it be updated, similar to DLSS, and that could be the future. Perhaps maybe the last console they make, and continually update the software. But we'll see. Only the future will tell. But I think we have talked at nauseum about so many things today. Does anyone have anything to say about PS1 to PS2? I can't even remember where we started.
No.
But
Call
let's
you a
just
pony. I want to leave it at calling you a pony.
What?
let's
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There we
Can
go.
I
let's
about the
On the Pony
PS1?
Express.
Can I say
you want
something about the PS1?
say so? Okay, here we go. This is a
You got
clip about the PS1. Go.
yes. You have a great mascot on the PS1 called Crash Bandicoot, and today there's a parody game called Nico Dorico on Steam and Xbox
Yes.
and other platforms. So go play it. I'm gonna be playing it this week.
Nico Dorico.
If you want to
All right.
re-experience that Crash Bandicoot
Well, let's
moment.
get on to some shout outs. Where can you find everyone? What's
Hey,
going on?
hey, Rue. Yeah, that's something too.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Um. Also, go play Gem's game Pixelmancer. It is an amazing game on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got three developers in our community. Shout out to Jim Bear. Shout out to It's Joe. He's got his he put his I think he put his link in the chat or somebody did. And then also Bjorn is working on a game with AI right now. So shout out to those guys.
Hey.
Big shout out. And why don't we go down the list here the other way? That PlayStation gamer, what have you got going on?
Just literally came off a video today talking about the live service bubble popping, and it was inspired by Purple Haze's live stream she did yesterday. So shout out to her. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna be returning to live streaming soon. I just don't know what I want to live stream: Witcher 3 or Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. I don't know. I might have to let my chat decide.
There you go. Soul, where can people find you? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm working on streaming. I'm thinking of starting a Dark Souls stream here soon. I don't know when, but we'll get that going soon.
There we go. And Reaver, what's going on with you, sir?
I've just been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yeah, Wilson SPG finally got me hooked on. I've been playing since yesterday. Also, been playing a lot of Pixelmancer too. And I still got beat your times in Astrobot, but I've been slacking on it.
Well, big list there. And SPG, what do you got going on?
I will be playing or streaming nothing tomorrow. I have a funeral to attend, but I hope all you guys have a great day and whatnot, and hug your loved ones. How about that?
Very nice message.
Well, good luck, Maker.
Yeah, Maker, you want to follow that shout out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I brought it down, bro.
Let's bring it back up, people.
All right. Let's see. I may play some PlayStation 1 games, maybe Crash or some Spyro. And catch me on Twitter and Discord, MakerCast12.
There we go. Feel that power of the PS1. The beginning of the greatest gaming experience those can experience. All right, Jem, where can people find you?
My ass.
Yeah, I mean, Ray said it perfectly. You could find me in Ray's ass.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so.
I'll be playing Marvel Rivals tomorrow, and then over the weekend I'll be playing Nico Dorico.
Who's your character?
What Marvel Rivals?
Yeah.
Whoever's got the biggest tits.
There we go.
Wow.
Hey, you're gonna play as Venom then.
Anthony L. Lewis Entertainment. Give yourself a shout out.
Can I give myself a shout out?
First things I want to say, SVG, sorry for your loss, and but not
Appreciate
sure
that.
you know how close you was to whoever your funeral you're going to, but want to say that. But yeah, man, I will be. What I've been doing is just vlogging like crazy since I'm in my new world. And so what I do is I just put out a bunch of videos in the for the members, and then every day I release a new video. So I got new videos every day. Haven't really been doing much streaming, but I will be streaming Marvel Rivals in the probably an hour and 15 minutes. Can't wait to tomorrow. And maybe next week, might be maybe trying to come back to streaming, but we'll see. I'm just enjoying the warm weather and just getting out in this new life. And my wife will go crazy now. She's like, "Look, we're gonna be out more." So, but check me out, guys. I got a lot going on and more to come. And now your mom knows.
Man, I'm jealous you got this nice
Now your
weather and
mama
I got
knows.
snow.
Yeah, I'm
So,
standing outside right now.
yeah.
We got
Anyway,
earthquake.
Ray,
We got
give
earthquake.
yourself a shout out, sir.
Real quick, guys. Vet was in here earlier, but he slipped out because Elon Musk cut him off. But shout out to Vet. Man, I'm getting ready to play me some Marvel Rivals. I'm still playing Marvel Snap, and I'm gonna play some Indiana Jones and Path to Exile. So some really cool games coming out. Thank you, Rudiggs. Thank you, Cloud&Console. Thank you, you wonderful gentlemen on the panel and everybody in the chat. Thank you, thank you. Football tonight, guys. Don't forget Packers and the Lions. Peace.
Ray forgot to say it, but thank you, Jim.
Did I say Jim? Jim who?
Well,
Oh wow.
never
Okay,
mind.
I see how it is.
It's your old time, Ray. You
We're gonna
forget.
have a talk about this in bed.
Jim
He
who?
put it
Jim
in
who?
there, Ray. You could at least thank him. He put it in there, you know?
Wilson.
hey, Rudex, can I say one last thing?
Yeah, of course.
Guys, make sure you check out Purple Haze tonight too. She's actually gonna be interviewing my guy FCat, man, and it's been a cool dude, man, and so he's getting an interview tonight on Purple Haze show at 8 p.m. Eastern. So guys, definitely check it out. Should be cool.
Yeah. That's a big one to catch tonight. And Wilson, what do you got going on?
Congratulations to Anthony, to Cowboy for his move. As
Yes.
well as to
Very
Sean.
nice to hear.
Congratulations. Big ups. It's
Yeah.
always fun to move and
Yes.
stressful,
Thank
but
you,
it's
man.
worth it in the end. Condolences to our brother
And
SPG.
that.
And yeah, I am not avidly content creating like the rest of these folks. So just find me in the Discord, Cyborg City. I'm always trying to wrangle these cats. But yeah, join us, play some games, and watch our streams.
Yes. And lastly, I'll say the Game Awards are going to be airing in 1 week here on the channel. So we will not have.
Yes.
We probably
No
will
download.
not have the download, unfortunately, but there'll be a
Black
special
Myth
episode where we are going to be airing the Game Awards live. And guess what? It's an open bar edition, meaning we are all
Yeah.
going to be drinking. But hey, if you're not drinking, if for any reason you're still more than welcome to come hang out and watch us slowly devolve.
But please bring a drink, because it's going to get embarrassing. Please.
Watch,
Bring
Oh
it.
yeah, especially those 3 hours.
I'm gonna
will
need
get
a-
really-
Brain rot ourselves.
I'm gonna need a designated talker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got you. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
And
I'll
it
say all
won't
the
be
wrong.
me.
Hey. Yeah. Also, people come watch us brain rot ourselves.
Well,
Reva, you are drinking nothing. You are having tap water all
Say.
night, son.
No,
You
I'm
gotta
not.
put it
Water all
out there.
night,
You're
Reva.
still grounded.
No.
You're grounded.
That's been the download this week. Thank you everybody for coming hanging out with us. We've had great discussion today. All of these awesome panelists. I will say you guys have made the download extra special. We started out as a small little thing in here, and now it's grown to a weekly tradition I couldn't miss. So you guys are epic. You guys deserve all the praise. So thank you,
All the
and
love.
take care, chat. And
I'm a limp
have a good
dick,
one.
bitch.
Great ending there. Thanks, Ray.
Oh my gosh! try, do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the me who finds hype super decently smooth. Nice type, but as sick as beats.